Billions of people invest time, effort, and money into various sports, and a lot of them have achieved immense popularity, creating billion-dollar industries and gaining a huge following. However, then, there are sports that don't achieve this kind of popularity, and this seems to be because of their concepts. There's some sports out there that are so bizarre and strange you wonder why they exist, but they do, and some of them are actually quite popular. So that's what we're going to have a look at today. So here are 10 bizarre sports you have probably never heard of. Number 1 is man vs. horse. The Man vs. Horse Marathon is an annual event that occurs in Wales and centers around an extremely unique premise. The idea of it is simple. It's a 22-mile race between people on foot and people on horses. It's been occurring since 1980, and 36 years later it still happens every year. The concept for this event actually spawned from a debate in a bar between two men, one of which said that a man could beat a horse over a certain length. The owner of the bar overheard this conversation and decided to put it to the test. Well, the man was originally proven wrong. For 25 years straight, the people on horseback would win the race, but in 2004, a runner known as Hugh Lobb went the distance and actually came out victorious. Since then, one other person won whilst running, but every other event has been won by a horse. Number 2 is dog spotting. A couple of years ago, a Facebook page was made that came up with a new idea for a sport that was known as dog spotting. The idea was pretty simple and came with a set of rules and a point system. Obviously, you can guess what this sport entailed: looking at dogs. The rules originally consisted of people looking at dogs for as long as they could without getting spotted. If the dog spotted you, then the points would go to the dog. The page went on to get over 285,000 members, a lot of whom took it quite seriously, posting images and videos of them looking at dogs and having their results evaluated so that they could claim their points. At least that's how I think it works, but it is quite confusing. They actually have a separate page dedicated to the rules of this sport with 2 different categories: standard dog spotting and elite dog spotting. Apparently, in 2014, the original rules changed, which irritated quite a few of the original members, but it does seem to still be a playable sport. Number 3 is volcano surfing. Also known as ashboarding, volcano surfing is what it sounds like: a sport that features hikers climbing up a volcano slump so that they can slide down it. There is apparently 2 versions of this sport: the extreme version and the ordinary version. The extreme version features sliding downwards on an active volcano where dangers can spawn from molten lava and harmful gases. It's actually quite popular and is practiced on an array of mountains. It's been featured on quite a few media outlets, including National Geographic, and while it may be quite dangerous, quite a few people do partake in the sport. Number 4 is Kabaddi. Kabaddi is probably the most popular sport on this list, so I wouldn't be too surprised if you actually have heard of it. However, it's still not very known in parts of Europe or America, so I decided to include it for that reason. While it doesn't have much popularity in those parts of the world, it is actually the national game of Bangladesh, and is also very popular in India, Pakistan, and has a significant following in the United Kingdom. The game's rules, however, may seem quite strange for those of you who haven't heard of it. A player known as the Raider will hold their breath and proceed to run onto the field and attempt to tag as many opposing players as possible before running back to the referee and exhaling their breath. While that appears to be very strange, it is a system that seems to work for the game, and it's become very popular in parts of South Asia because of this. Number 5 is Royal Shrovetide football. Royal Shrovetide football is a sub-sport of the biggest game in the world, football. However, this sport isn't nearly as profitable, popular, or known, and that's because of its slightly ludicrous concept. It's also known as medieval football because of its roots, and is held in a town in Derbyshire, England. Now, the actual sport is where it gets a little bit insane. The town that it's played in is divided by a river, so the people who live in the north and the people who live in the south compete against each other, and the pitch is the majority of the town. You're able to pick up the ball and throw it around to your teammates, and because of this and the size of the pitch, goals are rarely ever scored. It doesn't share too many similarities to football, but it is credited as an important aspect of football's history. Number 6 is train surfing. Train surfing is exactly what it sounds like, a form of hitching that consists of people hopping on a train, sometimes for an attempt at a free ride, and other times it's done in poorer countries where transport is less developed and more space is needed. However, this transitioned into a strange extreme sport where the concept revolved around surfing on trains for as long as possible. Essentially what happened was a group of people who were fans of the concept decided to turn it into something that was actually competitive. So while it's not much of a sport that has rules, regulations, and annual competitions, it is one that people not only do, but take quite seriously. Number 7 is Unified Weapons Master. Unified Weapons Master is a hybrid of various combat and martial arts that started in Australia. It's the first sport to combine gaming mechanics and technology with a weapon-based sport. Actual weapons are used along with strong body armor. As more hits are received, more life points are depleted. While it isn't that popular, it has been developing over the years and more people are playing it. They're intending to set up competitions, so it will be interesting to see where it goes. Number 8 is Extreme Ironing. Extreme ironing is exactly what it sounds like and is as strange as it sounds. It's an extreme sport or a performance art that features the people partaking in it ironing in the most extreme way possible. For example, people will hike up a mountain or canoe into dangerous parts of a river in order to make their ironing as hard as possible. Other instances include ironing whilst snowboarding or ironing on a motorway. It apparently started in 1997, meaning that it's almost 2 decades old, and it's grown to be relatively popular, and today they have official tournaments and competitions that people take part in. Number 9 is Buzkashi. Buzkashi is another entry that is a bit more popular than expected. In fact, it is the national sport of Afghanistan. The idea of it is where it gets quite bizarre, as it consists of 2 teams competing against each other while attempting to place the carcass of a goat or calf into a goal. It seems very strange, but it's actually played in quite a few countries in Central Asia, such as Afghanistan, Pakistan, and it has even been played in the United States. These games can actually go on for days unless it's regulated, in which case they'll go on for a set piece of time. It obviously is a sport that has been deemed controversial, but it is played by quite a few people and has a very extensive history. Number 10 is chess boxing. Chess boxing is a hybrid between 2 sports that seems to be the exact opposite: chess and boxing. The idea of it spawned in the 90s and was developed by a Dutch artist who originally intended for it to be a once-off experiment, but it went on to become a full-blown sport, where competitors would alternate rounds between both sports. So one round they'd fight each other, and in the next round they would play a game of chess. This game actually went on to become a professional sport, and many people started to compete in it. Of course, it is still currently developing, but looks as if it is going to go on to be quite popular. Thanks a million for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button. I'll leave a link down below to the previous list I made, so you can go check that out if you want. Also, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, both of which are DeBurk321. But, like I said, that's all for now. As always, until next time.